For one, if you are on a really, really tight budget, this is hands down what I recommend. Hands down. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first video in my discussion series. And today we're actually going to be talking about new rifles, like budget builds, things like that. So, but first, before we get started, I just wanted to show you where I've been working for the last little bit. I've been here for 2 weeks now. This is my second trip to Hawaii for work. So, and for those of you that don't know, I'm a pipe fitter welder, and I work in the sanitary food and beverage industry, and I do pharmaceutical high purity welding and pipe fitting as well. So I'm out here in Hawaii working on a project, and even though I don't have my rifles or any of my firearms with me to make content at a range, I figured I'd start a new series called the Discussion Series. It's a little bit of insight as to my thought process, some conversations that I have with myself on kind of a regular basis about new rifle builds, new pistol purchases, kind of my reasoning for a lot of that, and how I would go about building them or putting them together, the parts and components, stuff like that. So I wanted to put out some content for you guys, and I figured what better time than now to start a discussion series. Even though I don't have my rifles and my pistols with me, I still wanted to put something out content wise. So we'll find a spot to get set up somewhere where we can videotape and start this video. All right, so I think I've found a spot where we can chat a little bit about budget rifles. And in this discussion series, I just wanted to give you guys, the viewer, a little bit of insight as to my thought process when suggesting new rifles or suggesting builds for people that are just getting into the precision rifle game. They want to shoot long range and do it effectively. So there are so many questions revolving around this topic, and it can be overwhelming, I think, to new people that are just getting into it. So hopefully this video can clear up some of those questions that people might have, and give you some options that may fit into your budget so you can actually get into this and enjoy it. All right, so here we go. When we're talking about some really good value budget rifles on the market that can get you out to range, I mean, of course, there's like the Ruger Precision and the Savage Elites. They come in their respective chassis. I think the Savage comes in an MDT ACC chassis. Of course, the downside of that, and something to consider, is the fact that it's going to be in that premium high dollar chassis, but it's going to be in a Savage action, meaning a Savage footprint, meaning you're not going to have any other options moving forward with premium actions if you were to want to upgrade in the future. So that's something to consider. If you're going to spend that kind of money, you do kind of want that flexibility to upgrade and modify your setup extensively moving forward, because this is that kind of a sport that just kind of hooks you, right from the beginning. So you want to be able to expand in the future. Is it a good option? Yeah, it's a good option. It's a good option for somebody that wants to just buy a rifle and not really have to think much more about it than just, hey, I'm going to buy a rifle, I'm going to get it chambered in 6 Creedmoor or 6.5 Creedmoor, and go shoot long distance and go shoot precision rifle with it. Be my guest. You guys can do that. I just think there are better options and things you should consider out there. One of the first things that I want to show you is actually this Bergara Premier Series competition. I found this on Optic, and I'll show you guys this here in a second. But I found this on Optic, and the price is, it says $24.99.99, and then you got to add it to the cart to get your specific pricing. If you have a military ID or your fire, EMS, or police, you can get these. I believe my discount was like $2,150, $2,200, which is pretty good. And I could be wrong. Yeah, there we go. the Bagara Premier Action, this is a Remington 700 footprint. And what you're getting here is you're actually getting a Masterpiece Arms. I believe this is their BA chassis. And I could be wrong, but let's go to Masterpiece Arms website and check out their chassis. Masterpiece Arms, here we go. Let's check out their chassis. I think it's their BA chassis. Competition. Masterpiece Hunter Comp. BA. It looks and appears to be like this one right here. And look at the value of that right there. If you were to buy this from Masterpiece Arms, you're going to spend $1,200. $1,200 outfitted the same way, and it's not going to come with a trigger. I'd be curious to see if this even comes with a mag. I'm not reading anything on here that says it comes with a magazine or not. But for the money right here, you're getting a 6 GT barrel, okay? And it's a very heavy contour barrel. It's what you would want for precision shooting and long range. 6 GT is a very respectable caliber. Now, it doesn't have the factory support that like 6 Creedmoor has, but it's, you know, the Hornady offering for 6 GT is very good. A friend of mine competes with his and does well at competition. Certainly there's no issues with the ammo. The action, in my experience from playing with his, is good. It's right on par with, I think, your Aero Precision Solus action. It's right on par with, you know, other actions in the vicinity of like $700-ish, $800-ish dollars. So nothing really fancy to speak of there. It does come with a Trigger Tech trigger, and it comes with a magazine. And that's all for, if you've got that military law enforcement discount, that all comes for like $2,200. I think that's a really, really good value. I'd be hard pressed to say you could get anything better than that for $2,200. So that's certainly an option. Now, something that is curious to me is assembling a rifle using parts. And so what I want to do is I want to go to MDT's website and show you guys something here. So their field stock chassis. This is something that I've been really, really liking. I like the fact it's got the 4 M-LOK slots on the front. It's got, you know, room for accessories and weights in the front fore end area. Of course, those weights the MDT sells, they take up 2 slots. So there you could put 2 weights on each side, weighing the gun down by, geez, I think about 2.5, 3 pounds or something by the time you put all the weights on there. Then it appears that you've got some M-LOK slots on the bottom where you could attach maybe a small ARCA rail or a Picatinny rail, of course, for your bipod. I would recommend like the ground pod or the single pull sky pod would be my choice. But of course that increases the budget substantially by going with one of those. Your buttstock area here, it does have adjustability in the cheek weld area, as well as at the actual recoil pad. You can use these shims that they have and adjust the length of pull slightly there. I think they did a really good job, and especially for $300 right here, it's definitely a lightweight chassis. I think you could add enough weight to it to really weigh it down for something kind of competitive like, especially if you could figure out a way to mount a long ARCA rail to this fore end, and, you know, something that maybe took up from like here or even here and extended out past the front of it a little ways. You'd have plenty of space to mount your bipod, you know, in the front, and then also have that sort of accessibility. If you got an ARCA mount bipod, you'd be able to slide your bipod fore and aft on that rail That would be very competition-like, competition-esque. Then even if you went with like the Area 419 Arca rail, you could put, you know, some weights in there, some brass weights. And then even if you want even more weight for, you know, a competition rifle, you could go ahead and grab that Gray Ops. Let's go to their website too. Gray Ops. And then let's just do Mini Plate Pro. You could even grab this right here with 2 brass weights in it to weigh it down even further. So, I mean, the options for weight on this are incredible. To be able to accessorize it, and I do really like this field stock. Ever since they came out with this, it's been this has been all I've been talking about. So I can't wait to get my hands on one. MDT, hopefully you guys send me something to try and put here on the channel, because I would love to toss some accessories on this and really test it as like a precision competition-esque rifle. But man, if I wasn't gonna go with the Bergara, right, $2,200, phenomenal value right there. Of course, we're not talking about scope, it's just rifle right now. But if I wasn't gonna go with the Bergara, I would probably, and I was trying to be budget minded, I would probably be picking one of these up. And let's see what kind of, look at this right here, Howa 1500 short action for $300. Okay, now I want to show you guys something. Let's go to Howa 1500 barreled actions. If you were to have this MDT field stock in a Howa 1500, right, you could get a Howa 1500 6.5 Creedmoor barreled action with a match profile barrel for $516.99 to $549.99. Man, that is a great value right there. If we add up that price, we're at $850, and we have a firing rifle for $850 freaking bucks, man. And this thing, I've seen the MDT guys take, you know, rifles like this out and shoot them out to 1,000 yards. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna get, you know, consistency and, you know, crazy good results out of it, okay, but it's gonna get you pretty freaking close. You'd be pretty dangerous with something like this, right? There's definitely a lot going on here. So I just think it's I think if you get into something like this, right, you take a field stock for $300, take a Howa 1500 and 6.5 Creedmoor with a match contour barreled action for $550. I mean, for like $850, then you got to, you know, plus tax, you're shooting, man. You're shooting. Well, you've got a rifle that'll shoot, but now we've got to put optics on it. So if we've got this kind of a budget rifle, and we're talking about getting into long range shooting, we're going to need a long range optic. Where do we look for budget long range optics? We look at Arken. Well, let's check out their website. Here we go. Products, optics. Here we go. Okay. 4 to 16, 6 to 24. Use code lowest right there. $260 for a 6 to 24. Are you kidding me? Let's see what reticles they've got. Guys, you're going to want to go with a mill reticle. You're going to want to go with mill unit of measure and a mill reticle. You're going to want to get, I think the VPR was, I think I liked their VPR. VHR, VPR. Yeah, that's the one I like. Yep. All right. Their VPR, mill VPR, looks like it's $350. Okay. Then we're gonna need rings. I mean, these guys sell rings sometimes in these packages too for like not that much money. What are we supposed to do? Click code lowest as well? Yeah. Lowest. Apply. Look at that. $270 with a 25% discount. Well, let's go up here to rings and mounts. What was that? Was that a 30? Yeah, it was a 30 millimeter tube. Rings and mounts, come on. Halo scope rings, rigid precision mounts. This stuff starts at 70 bucks, guys. I mean, code save 25%. Okay, let's remember that. We want 20 MOA with 30 millimeter rings right there. Coupon 25% off right there. $322.48 for a 6-24 first focal plane illuminated reticle with subtensions, the whole tree, the whole nine, in mils, 30 millimeter tube. We're talking, this is a scope that I've shot at 24 power. My Collis is a 24 power scope, right? And I know we're comparing, like, I mean, literally the top versus literally the bottom, okay? But what I'm trying to say is that 24 power is good enough to get you out to 1,000 yards. I mean, for 300 bucks, $322, you could toss this on your $850 rifle, and now what are we up to? $1,050, $1,100, something like that. We just need a Picatinny rail on the top of that Howa 1500 action. Those are probably like 60 to 100 bucks. I mean, you're $1,250 into your precision rifle at this point, and you're out there. You just got to buy ammo, and you're out there shooting with everybody else. That would be, I mean, for an entry-level gun, for people that are like really looking to get into this, that's pretty good stuff. That's pretty incredible right there. So this is just my 2 cents budget build, things that I think about. Again, this is a discussion series. These are things that I sit and talk about in my own head when I'm just driving down the road, or I have downtime and my mind just starts wandering. I start talking about or solving problems that, I don't know, when I have downtime and my mind wanders, these are the places that it goes. And the people that have asked me in the past about these sorts of, these questions, they've asked me, what would you recommend? And I mean, for one, if you are on a really, really tight budget, this is hands down what I recommend. Hands down. I would recommend that Arken Optic 6-24 on a really, really tight budget. Arken Optic 6-24 with the Arken rings. There's 300 bucks out the door right there. First focal plane, very, very capable. Howa 1500 barreled action, comes with the trigger, okay, and I think a magazine. In 6.5 Creedmoor with a match contour barrel from Brownells. And toss it all in an MDT field stock, guys. Look at this. This is what you could be shooting right here. You could be shooting that for less than $1,300. That's a phenomenal value. That's just a phenomenal value. So, and it's really hard to beat. The only other thing I would say is, and there's a bunch of different ways to go about this, but if you wanted to spend an extra $200, I cannot recommend this chassis system enough from MDT. $250, an extra $250, you could get the MDT XRS, which has just got a little bit more adjustability, a little bit more features that come with this. Not as it sits bone stock feature wise, but there is more support. So let's go and take a look at the support for let's do accessories, and then we'll shop by chassis, model specific. you can get the vertical adjustment butt pad. That's great. That's great. I don't actually have that. I don't have that. I'm just seeing this now. Oh, I guess it's on back order. I'll have to check other suppliers and see if I can get one. So all of my MDT XRS chassis, which I have 2 of them, soon to have 3, I think, all of them have this enclosed forend. That allows for even more accessories than the original forend offers. It comes with the ARCA rail integrated onto the bottom here. So, I mean, if you're gonna put an ARCA rail on that original XRS for, I think $100 is what an ARCA rail would cost. Just for an extra $60, get yourself all these additional M-LOK slots on the top. I toss weights on mine. I like having the weights on mine in the way that they are, because when I C-clamp the front forend of my rifle with that bag, when I do that C-clamp grip, I'm actually pressing this thumb down over this enclosed forend part, and I'm grabbing and pushing on one of those weights, and I'm pushing it forward, and that's so that I can fight that recoil impulse. 6.5 has just a little bit too much recoil impulse to spot your hits and misses downrange. I mean, you can still do it. I still do it, right? But you have to manage it a little bit better. Be more aware of it to manage it. So, I mean, yeah, just, oh, and then they've got the internal forend weight. I totally forgot about that. That can go in the original forend, or it can go in the upgraded forend. I mean, if you bought the weight and then you upgrade, you can still use the weight. That's cool. For an extra $250, I mean, this is the stuff that I'm talking about. When, you know, you don't want to buy a rifle that's proprietary, I would encourage you not to buy a Ruger RPR, the Ruger Precision Rifle, because it's so proprietary. And then the room for expansion in the future is essentially, the answer to that is just buy a different rifle, or go with sell that and get a completely different setup, which, you know, I don't like parting ways with rifles. So I would just end up keeping it. It'd just be money invested in something I don't use. But what I would say is that if you're going to, get into this, you just really want to make sure that you have a platform that's expandable, because as you grow in this sport, you're going to want to make adjustments, and you're going to want to change things like your chassis. You're going to want to change things like your action. You're going to want to have aftermarket barrels that you can get, you know, just shipped to you that are pre-fits. So you're going to want to have something that's kind of standardized. That's what a lot of people are using. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I got to say about this, about my discussion, sort of self-talk about budget rifles. Buy something that's expandable. Ideally, Remington 700 footprint. You can expand on that chassis-wise with, I mean, a variety of different manufacturers out there. You could expand on that action-wise with a variety of different actions. You might even have a Remington 700 action, like on another rifle. You could just buy a chassis, toss that Remington 700 barreled action in that chassis, and you could be shooting, and you'd be doing better. Another thing I would just say about budget rifles is, if you can, try not to cheap out on the scope. You can't hit what you can't see. And a precise point of aim, in my opinion, really starts to happen at around that 16 to 18 power zone. That's where you can get the most precise points of aim, is with that 16 to 18 magnification. And, you know, we're talking about just zeroing your rifle, grouping and zeroing at 100 yards. Anything above that helps for grouping and zeroing, and it just makes that zero all that more accurate. So anyways, guys, I gotta wrap it up now. It's probably been way too long, but I'm in I'm in Hawaii. I wanted to put out some content for you guys. Next week, I will be home. I'll be making some content back at the farm so I can, put some of this talk to fruition. And I also have some extremely exciting news that's going to be coming out in the next video, okay? And I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to tell you guys, but I'm just not ready to quite yet. But if you guys can guess what it is, guess it down in the comments section. I'd love to hear everything you guys have to say and talk about this. This is something I do on a daily basis. I talk to myself about rifle setups, and if it's something that you do as well, you're gonna want to subscribe to this channel, or we should just talk. If you have other recommendations to new shooters, also leave that down in the comments section, because that's what this is all about. This is about growing that sort of that network and that knowledge, and passing it along to the new shooter that's getting into it, so they don't make the same mistakes that I've made, the same mistakes that you've probably made, right? So, golly, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would Remington 700 footprint in something with a chassis, and I would have spent $3,000 on a scope. That's what I would have done right from the rip, and then I would have put that scope on other rifles moving forward, and really more focused on expanding that one individual build. But instead what I did was I had a bunch of sort of unexpandable platforms that are kind of not really ideal. So yeah, anyways guys, thank you for watching. This is Average Shot here. I'm in Hawaii for work. Can't be more blessed. What a great life it is. Miranda, all the kids at the house. If you guys are watching this, I'll be home soon. Love you guys. Till the next one. Bye.